What's up, YouTube, and welcome to Black Ops Cold War campaign ending explained. We about to react to it, and I'm gonna talk about it at the same time. Um, for me, this I already knew Adler was Perseus, or he's working with Perseus. But besides that, let's let Ink Slasher explain.
This is your spoiler alert for this video. If you haven't played the campaign yet, or you don't know what happens and you don't want it to be spoiled for you, do not watch the rest of this video. It should be pretty self-explanatory by the title. This is all about the ending of the game, explaining it, because it is freaking confusing. So, if you don't want the game spoiled, don't continue watching. You can still hit that like button if you really want to, but this is all about the ending, so let's dive into that. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 days ago I uploaded a video that was all of the endings in Black Ops Cold War, and I explained to you guys how you could get those endings for yourself and come up with your own conclusions. I told you in that video, if we hit 10,000 likes, then I would make a separate video explaining the ending and what they actually meant for the game. Well, less than a day later, the video is well over 10,000 likes. So first of all, thank you, and here is the video that you guys asked for. Now, here's the thing. We are going to cover the ending of this game, and I'm going to explain to you what exactly it means, because it is very confusing. Maybe one of the most confusing Call of Duty campaigns of all time. But there are going to be some things that we're not going to go over in this video. And some of those include this rascal that you're seeing on screen here and how he's involved with not only Black Ops Cold War, but also Modern Warfare as well. So if you want to see some more videos like this one, some more story videos with the campaign, all you got to do to show me is simply hit that like button. And let's say, I guess we'll aim higher. If this video hits 20,000 likes, then I'll keep this series going and keep these videos coming for you guys. But as far as understanding the ending of this game, there's multiple parts to it, and the first part that we have to look at is the road that you take to get to the end of the game.
With Facebook Shops, connecting people with your business just got easier.
You can bridge the gap between.
So this part of the story is the same for everyone. No matter what your decisions are, no matter what you do during the campaign, this part of the story remains the same. And as far as this part of the story goes, it begins with Mason, Adler, and Woods hunting down some Perseus associates, which eventually lead them to a Turkish airstrip hunting down a man named Arash Kadivar. Now at this time, as they look through binoculars, they see a jeep pull up and Arash Kadivar gets out. At this time, he shoots and kills the two associates that are inside of the jeep. Then, you try to snipe him, miss, and a chase scene ensues. Once you blow up the airplane and then kill Arash, you then complete the mission. At this time, you have the most intel you've had so far on Perseus since 1968, so at this time, Adler wants to put together a task force to hunt down and stop Perseus. This is then okayed by the president himself, Ronald Reagan, so Adler puts together a task force put together with many associates that he's worked with before, including Lazar, Sims, Park. On top of this, the CIA throws in some of their regulars, including Frank Woods and Alex Mason, but Adler insists on a new agent being added, one that he apparently worked with back in Vietnam, by the name of Bell. That is all the information we have on this character. Now, the first thing that they need is more information on Perseus. So they dive back into their memories, and Adler, Sims, and Bell go back to their time in Vietnam, in the year 1968, specifically in January. At this time, Adler, Bell, and Sims were in Vietnam, and they get sent on a mission to go receive intel on an individual character. This, of course, as we then find out, is none other than Perseus. Now, at this time, they are also sent to get an asset. This asset was a nuclear device, which they then get shot down out of the air, and then Soviet soldiers then attack them in an attempt to take this nuclear device, which ended up being unsuccessful. Fortunately, Bell has a background in cryptography, so the crew uses him to decrypt some of the intelligence that they got back in Vietnam, which leads them to another Perseus associate known as Anton Volkov. Volkov then gives them information information about a Soviet facility, and Woods and Bell are sent to infiltrate it and find out exactly what Perseus has planned. Inside here, they use Bell's background in cryptography to hack into a computer, and they find out about an operation known as Operation Greenlight. This is a mission where the United States planted nuclear devices around Europe in case of a Soviet invasion. If the Soviets invade, they launch the nukes, killing all the Soviet troops, and therefore stopping the Soviet army. From here, we have a blast from the past as Mason and Woods are sent to Mount Yamantau, very similar to Black Ops 1, to find a Soviet mainframe that essentially doesn't give them the information that they want. So instead of doing this, they then are sent to infiltrate a KGB headquarters. Now at this time, Mason and Woods are still in Yamantau, so Adler and Bell are the ones to then go and infiltrate the KGB headquarters. At this time, they find out a bunch of information about sleeper agents within the CIA, within American government, so on and so forth.
Bro,
At this
what the
time,
fuck?
they find out about a doctor.
The Ridge Wallet. It's a minimalist metal wallet designed to hold everything you need. They've got over 30,000 5-star reviews.
Sniper wolf.
There's over 30 colors and styles.
Doctor by the name of Theodore Hastings, who just so happens to be a doctor in nuclear physics. They end up tracking down Hastings to Cuba. They believe that Perseus's plan is to get Hastings to arm the nuke. They will then bring the nuke from Cuba into the United States and detonate it, causing a massive attack. However, as they get to Cuba and as they get to Hastings, they find out that this was not the plan. When looking on a terminal, they see Perseus come in the room and assassinate Hastings. It turns out when they talk to Hastings that the plan all along was to force Hastings, no, Hastings wasn't working with Perseus, to reverse engineer the nuclear codes from the nuke that they stole, and in turn make it so that they could then launch all of the other nukes hidden throughout Europe. Now, the clock is ticking. Now, as you try to extract from Cuba, you get attacked by the Soviets, and at this time, all of your team essentially gets injured. Bell, Park, and Lazar. You only have time to save one person, either Park or Lazar. This is actually one of the decisions that actually matters for the ending, kind of. We'll get into it, but for the sake of this, I ended up simping for Park. We'll get more into that later. At this time is where things start to hit the fan. So first things first, you get back to the safe house and you are strapped down to a gurney. And we start to hear some strange dialogue between Hudson and Adler.
Focus. Sims, get the dosages ready. All of them.
Adler, stop wasting our valuable time. He's of no use to us anymore.
Stay alert, Bell. You're the key to stopping Perseus. No more half-assing it. We're doing an intracerebral injection.
Damn, the eye socket. You sure about this, Doc?
From this point on, this is where we begin to see the true story of who Bell is. Now, in the beginning of this mission, you actually hear Perseus telling Bell to not trust Adler.
Exactly.
Do not trust Adler. Adler is lying to you. Do not trust him. Do not listen to Adler. He is lying to you. He is lying to you. Not trust Adler.
Now, throughout the rest of this mission, it is narrated by Adler talking to Bell, which is odd because this is supposed to be Bell's memory. The point of this mission is to go through Bell's memory and remember finding a bunker where he found information on Perseus. And slowly as you go through these missions, you open these red doors and inside find information bit by bit to help you clue you in to who Perseus is and where he is. But the mission keeps resetting. Now as the mission resets, things change. Day becomes night, the weapon that you're using is different, and on top of that, the locations of the bunkers change as well. And as you go through some of these doors of bunkers, you start to realize that when you go through them, you're seeing strange things like laboratories or chairs similar to those of Mason's in Black Ops 1. Now eventually, upon opening the right bunker door, you get to a scene where you're not just finding Perseus or where he is, you are sitting at a round table, a meeting of a bunch of people that you've seen throughout the campaign, the bad guys, and Perseus is standing in front of you telling you his plans.
Our leaders continue to weaken under this threat. It is the moral duty of Perseus to act when they will not. Soon we will possess an American nuclear bomb. The key to unlocking their entire Greenlight arsenal. Once we control the Greenlight arsenal, we will detonate them all from the safety of Solovetsky.
So you find out Perseus's plan, but your question may be, how does Bell know this if he just ran into him in Vietnam? Well, this is where we get our answer, and it's a confusing one.
I didn't think they'd recover so fast.
We tried everything. Normal forms of interrogation weren't working.
Breaking a subject's will and erasing their mind is a difficult and painful process.
That's a small price to pay.
The CIA's mind control program has had a great deal of success with implanted memories.
You want me to tell them about my time in Vietnam?
Lastly, you'll need a command phrase to trigger the implanted memories.
We have a job to do. You had to reach the Soviet bunker.
It appears the subject's programming is beginning to take hold.
We've got a job to do. We've known each other for years. Fought together, bled together, been through the hell of Vietnam together. We've got a job to do.
And now the training's complete. We just need to give the subject a name.
Bell.
Okay, what the hell was that? So, what we then find out is that Bell is not a CIA agent. In fact, we saw Bell earlier in the campaign. When we go to assassinate Arash Kadivar, what we see is him shoot two people who are inside the Jeep. One of these people is then found alive by Adler and taken back to the safe house. At this time, they use a program called MK Ultra, which by the way is the same program used on Mason in the first Black Ops game, and on top of this is actually a thing that existed in real life to implant memories into people and then change the way they look at the world and the way that they operate. This was done to who we now know as Bell. Now, as you heard in that cutscene that we just listened to, Adler had a trigger phrase saying, "We have a job to do," and this is how he took memories and put them into Bell. So for example, right before the first Vietnam mission happens, this is what we hear Adler say to Bell.
We're looking for anything that can lead us to Perseus.
This feels like looking for a needle in a haystack, in a field of haystacks.
Maybe, but that needle's somewhere. Remember, we had a job to do.
So boom, this memory is implanted, and they put Adler and Sims into this memory so that Bell would trust them. So what we can take away from this is that this entire Vietnam part of the story is made up, right? Wrong. As we find out in one of the opening scenes when Adler is talking to Reagan, is that in Vietnam in 1968, Adler was there when Perseus tried to steal the nuclear asset that we see in the mission that Bell's on.
1968, Vietnam War. Viet Cong soldiers, orchestrated by Perseus, attempted to steal an American-made nuclear bomb from a U.S. firebase.
So what happened is they actually tried to imprint Adler's memories onto Bell. This is going to become of huge importance later. So we now know how the whole story works, how they brainwashed Bell, but the question is from here, based off of the decisions you make at the very last moments of the campaign, what is the canon ending? This is, again, pretty damn confusing.
Save big on exactly what you want with personalized coupons.
Anybody want to be a fire team leader? The tank support should be going towards abandoned hangars.
You can run supplies back in.
So the first ending that's easiest to dismiss is pretty simple. It's the evil ending. So in this ending, you lie to Adler, and then you get on the radio, and then you let Perseus know where you guys are going so that you can ambush the squad. And in this, what ends up happening is you ambush the squad, and then you and Perseus end up killing literally everyone. Now, the reason why we can dismiss this ending is because in this ending, you kill Woods, you kill Mason, therefore Black Ops 2 could have never happened. And as we know, this game takes place between Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. So obviously, this is not the canon ending. But there is one thing in this ending that is interesting. In this ending, when you're talking to so-called Perseus, he says this.
And to think, after all this time, they still believe I'm Perseus. As if Perseus could ever be an individual working alone. So American.
So in this ending, they state that Perseus is not a person, but rather an organization of people, which actually makes a lot of sense with all that we see with the various different bad guys in Black Ops 1, 2, and here in Cold War. Now, is this true? It's hard to say. With this not being the canon ending, this could all just be a lie. Perseus could still be one person. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Maybe this is something we can dive into in a future video if you're interested in that. Now, going back to the second ending we have, the bad ending. In this ending, you once again lie to Adler, and then you go to the Duga, but this time you don't let Perseus know where you are going, so there is no ambush. This time, the nukes are launched, and most of Europe is destroyed. However, Bell is killed by Adler and the crew. The rest of the crew survives. The only downside is that a big portion of Europe is destroyed because Perseus has time to launch all of these nukes. As bad as this ending is, this is still possible. It is possible that this is the canon ending. I tried and looked for a reason why this could not be the canon ending, but as I look at it, there is nothing to disprove it. If you look at Black Ops 2, there are no missions that take place in Europe in the year 1986. All of them are either in South America or Angola. After this, as of right now, the multiplayer of Black Ops Cold War takes place in 1984, and there are no maps in Europe, which means the nuke could have gone off. There is nothing to disprove it. The only thing to disprove this ending is the fact that in Black Ops 2, they don't mention any nuclear explosions. You'd think that this would be a big thing that affected the world, and for them not to mention it would be a little bit strange. That's the only thing that can disprove this ending, and it's pretty loose. So it is possible that the bad ending is the canon ending. So moving on to what is probably the canon ending, which is the good ending. It's where you tell Adler the truth and you go to Solovetsky. This is where Perseus is planning on sending out the nuke launch codes and then launching all of the nukes around Europe. In this, you end up stopping the launch codes from going out, you blow up the area, and then boom, you have saved the day. However, the interesting part of this ending is at the very end.
Take my hand, Bell. We did it. This is a message to Perseus, and those that'll follow him. We don't just sit back and hope for the best. We'll make the best happen. This is how wars are won, Bell. Arctic air. There's the head, doesn't it? Bell, you made two extraordinary sacrifices to stop Perseus. One was without your knowledge. The other, you made that decision of your own accord. I just want you to know that this little thing that's happened with you and me, it was always for the greater good. You're a goddamn hero, you know that, kid. Heroes have to make sacrifices. That's why when I ask you for one more, I hope you understand. It was never personal.
So what That seems so out of place in that ending. All was well. Adler was giving you life lessons on this is how wars were won, and then all of a sudden he's trying to shoot you? Alright, well, we need to answer two questions here. Why did Adler turn on you? And secondly, who actually died at the end there? Now, a lot of people are saying we don't know the answer to this, but the answer is actually incredibly simple. As we just discussed, the multiplayer of Black Ops Cold War takes place in 1984, and it just so happens that one of the operators is Adler. Therefore, we know Adler is not dead. Adler's at least alive in 1984. Now, I heard a lot of people saying, well, he's not in Black Ops 2, so that means he died here. No, that's not the case. We definitely see him here. The other thing that we can take away from this, as of right now in the operators, Park is an operator and Lazar is not. What this tells me is that the decision where you save Park and Lazar dies is the canon decision for the story. That's why Lazar is not currently an operator in multiplayer. Now that could change in the future, they could add people in, but as of right now, this is what it looks like. And then for the big one, why did Adler turn on Bell? Now, as we know, Bell, to begin with, was a Russian asset. He worked with Perseus. Now, a lot of people are saying that Adler did this to basically clean up his path, to make it so there was no loose ends for the CIA. But as we heard earlier, most of the CIA people, including Black, who was one of the main people relaying information to Ronald Reagan, was okay with Bell. They thought that he was now a good guy and a CIA asset.
He's got balls, I'll give him that.
Bell did well.
Seemingly.
However, Adler still shoots him. Why? Well, personally, what I believe is that he is cleaning up loose ends, but not for the CIA, but rather for himself. You see, the memories that were imprinted in Bell's mind were not just made up. They were not just out there and coming up with a fictional story. They were actually Adler's memories, which means Bell knows a lot more about Adler than basically anyone else. A good example of this is in the flashback to Vietnam in the year 1968. When Bell sees Adler's face, there is no scar on it. However, at this point, Bell doesn't know when Adler got his scar. You can figure that out later in the campaign, but that's after this mission. Before this, Bell doesn't know, so if he was just inferring or remembering, he would have thought that Adler had the scar and therefore would have seen him that way in the flashback. However, he doesn't, which means Adler gave him all of this background information on this memory, which tells us that Bell knows almost everything about Adler. So instead of trying to hide something for the CIA, I truly believe that Adler is trying to hide something about himself. Now, what that thing is, I don't currently know. It could just be a secret he has, a mistake he made, or could it be that he is working with Perseus? Well, for now, that is something that will remain a mystery, but is definitely something that we can dive into in the future. And as I said before, if you want to see these stories and explaining videos come out more frequently, the best way to show me is by hitting that like button, and let me know down in the comments what you'd like to see me cover next in regard to the Cold War story. Also, if you're new here, want to stay up to date on all my videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on. It's the best way to stay up to date on all my videos, and we are right around the corner from 1 million subs, so if you want to be a part of that, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.
Remember, we had a job to do.
Yeah, that's it. I don't care. Adler is helping Perseus. Either that or he is Perseus. That's why he killed my man Bell. Only reason, that's it, that's all. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.